Let's learn how to round. When you are rounding, the whole point is rounding gives you numbers that are easy to count. I'm trying to make it easier to do the math in my head. Let's look at an example. I'm going to go to the store and buy some clothes, and these are how much they cost. I am not going to sit there and add all those in my head. I don't have any paper and pencil, and maybe I don't have my phone on me. I left it in the car. So instead, I'm going to round these numbers so that they end with zeros so that it's easier to do in my head. So I know 17 is almost 20, 32 is close to 30, and 49 is close to 50. So this is much easier to add. I can make all the zeros, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's going to be about $100. That's what rounding is. It's finding about how much something is going to be when you're adding it or when you have a number that is not easy to count. Rounding, you need to know what numbers are nice numbers and which numbers are bully numbers. So these are the numbers that are nice, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. And if they're nice, that means that they leave their neighbors alone. Think about when you're learning at school. If you have a nice neighbor who sits beside you, they leave you alone while the teacher's teaching so you can learn. But if they're a bully, these are the bullies, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. The bullies don't let you learn. They interrupt you. They may even shove you. So if your neighbor is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you're going to shove. They are going to shove their neighbor up by 1. Now that may not make sense to you, but it will when we do a problem. So let's look at the steps and actually solve one. If I have a number that I want to round, let's do the number 63. Here are the steps for how we round it. If we want to round it to the tens place, I'm going to underline the rounding place. So I'm going to underline the tens place. Start at the end and go to the left. You've got ones and tens. There's the tens place. I underlined the rounding place. Step 2 is circle the neighbor right next door. So the number to the right is a 3. Now decide if the number you just circled, if it's nice, it's going to leave the rounding spot alone. If it's a bully, it's going to shove that number up by 1 because bullies are mean and they shove you. So 3 is a nice number. It's going to leave the 6 alone. And the last step is you're going to turn every other number to this side of it, to the neighbor's side, into zeros. So we learned a song that says, the numbers to the right of the rounded digit change to zeros, then it's legit, meaning it's good. So let's try a different one using these exact same steps. Let's get a number for this time, 3,481, and we're going to round to the hundreds spot. So usually you need to know what spot you're rounding to. If you don't know, if it doesn't say on your worksheet or your paper, then usually I just pick the biggest spot. But this case, that's not the hundredth spot. So let's do our song. Start at the end and go to the left. You've got ones and tens and hundreds. All right, I've started my process. Underline the rounding place. Now I need to circle the neighbor right next door. To the right is an 8, so circle it. Now I need to decide, is 8 nice or a bully? It's one of our bully numbers, so I'm going to be mean, and I'm going to push the 4. It's going to go up by 1, which makes it 5. Now, I'm not going to mess with the 3 because anything before the rounding place stays alone. It wasn't a part of the problem. This was the problem. This was the bully situation. That wasn't even a part of it. It was just a witness. But then the last step is the zeros. The numbers to the right of the rounded digit change to zeros, then it's legit. All right, so I'm going to give you a problem, and I want you to try to round it by yourself. So you're going to write down this problem. Write down 672. And then I want you to round this to the hundreds spot. So go ahead and pause this video and follow the steps on here to round this number to the hundred spot. Go. Did you pause it? If you didn't, pause it and do it. But if you already did, here's the answer. 100 spot is the 6. Underline the rounding place. Circle the neighbor right next door. That's a 7. I'm going to decide that 7 is a bully, so it's going to give it a shove. It's not going to shove itself. Bullies don't shove themselves. That'd be weird. It's going to shove the neighbor. So 6 goes up by 1 to a 7, and everything else turns to zeros. All right, so if you are understanding this, fantastic. If you're not, go ahead and make up some numbers and ask someone at home to continue practicing with you. Good luck and happy rounding.